Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Isn't it exciting? It's what can I say? The heavens have opened, and it's raining. That is what it's doing, and there's nothing I can do about it. I tried to take a big piece of cardboard and wave it towards the sky to blow the clouds away, but alas, Mother Nature is stronger than I. Yet again. Yet again. But this is how it goes. This is how it goes. Anyway, so we're driving to Hanover today for an appointment, and you are on the Baltimore Pike with me. We're heading to Littlestown. We're going to take Littlestown and then head over to Hanover. There is a road that connects the two, and when you get into Hanover, that road leads right to where I need to go. So that's what we're doing. Good morning, David. How are you? Nice to see you. Top of the morning to you as well. I don't know why you retracted that. It was a lovely greeting. Gene Hutchinson says good morning, and I say, Gene, good morning to you. Babber, hello. David says, top of the morning to you there, Matthew. Okay, you wanted to add the to you there, Matthew. Very nice. Yachachar. And Grant says, what a bright sunny day. Yes, it is, Grant. This is what we call Australia sun. Amanda says, hi. Hey, Amanda, how are you? And 6 questions. Good morning to you, my friend. How are you? How are ye? How are ye? I have a day of, I got my appointment at 11, and then I have a bit of a break, and then 1:30 I have to go to get the old free oil change, tire rotation, and inspection. The inspection's not free, but the other 2 are, because I have 3 free ones from dealership when I got this lease, and this is for 3. So I have to go do that. And shit, I meant to bring a book. Oh, I hope I have a book somewhere in the car. Anyway, yeah. So that's my day. The Dale Dye interview, for those of you who are not patrons and didn't see it being recorded. Actually, even if you are a patron and you saw it being recorded, there is a good chunk of it that you're missing. And I'll tell you why, in case you haven't heard already. When we sat down, normally when I sit down with somebody, there's a little bit of small talk, It's really so that I can find a connection with them. And especially with somebody like Dale Dye, who's a professional media person. He's been, at this for 40 years. You don't want to make them feel like they're wasting their time. And I'm not professional. And by that I mean I don't really do much preparation. I don't really I just wing it. I prefer to fly by the seat of my pants. I find it to be more interesting for me, and I hope that makes it more interesting for the audience. There's just so much going on in my one day. I cram a lot of shit into one day. I don't always have time to prepare properly. So I just have to rely on my abilities to be a good bullshitter to get through an interview. And it's that little moment we sit down to whenever we decide to start period of time where most of the interview is pre-written in my head based on conversations with the person. And even if we're talking about a specific subject, like the other day we did a show with Phil Spoggy, the subject was supposed to be small arms at Gettysburg, and we talked about that for a little bit, and then we just started talking. And especially when it's a person's first time, I'm actually more interested in connecting with the person, because I always found that interesting when I watch an interview and it's 2 people talking. Number 1. Number 2, we now have a bond of some sort that I think will lend to better shows and better collaboration in the future. And so now, of course, I'm not expecting that from Dale Dye, but I'm trying to find that thing that personality trait or that thought that we both might have in common. And usually if you talk long enough, you have it. Now, luckily for us, when it was, I guess the day before, we did it on Saturday night. Friday, I started watching interviews with Dale Dye on YouTube throughout all of his career, and they're all the same. The questions are the same, the answers are the same. And now it's not that he pre-delivers questions he wants to be asked. That's not how it works. But I think most people want to talk to him about what he's done in movies, which obviously makes sense. That's why we know him. That's why we love him. But we're a military history show. We talk about the Battle of Gettysburg, and I wanted to do something different. I don't want to be like everybody else. Even though there's a lot of things that we do that are derivative of other people, that's just, human existence. That's what you do. But when I interview somebody, I don't want the questions to be the same. I don't want to hear the same answers. I knew all the answers to all the questions because I've seen 15 interviews where that all went down that way. So I said to him when he came in, I said, listen, you and I have one thing in common, and that is that we want to de-romanticize war, right? We both love John Wayne movies, but we don't like the way John Wayne movies portray Mortal Kombat. And we both want to change people's perceptions of war. And he said, right. And I said, okay. So I do a series of shows called Combat Stories, and mostly, actually entirely, it has been people either that worked with me on the show or veterans who are in my audience talking about their experiences in combat. And very frankly, and I said, I haven't really found many interviews where you've done that. And I would like that to be our interview, if you would be so kind. And he goes, sure. And I said, okay, great. So we start talking about his experience in Vietnam and everything. And then eventually we do get into the movie stuff because his experiences in war are what led him to do what he does now. And I find that to be a fascinating life story. And I struggle with this myself, so I'm pretty sure that a lot of other people struggle with it. And that is that, you think that what it is now is what it will be forever. And you can't imagine what the next phase of your life will be and what you will do. And it's just I always say this, if I lose addressing Gettysburg, I'll be living under a bridge within months because I don't know what else I can do. It took me 40 years to finally do this. And it's not because I decided overnight, you know what, I'll give this a shot. I had been pecking away at making a living with doing some kind of mass communication since I even knew what a living was. So it's hard for me to imagine, well, geez, what can I do next? What could I parlay this into? Could it be, it's certainly not going to be a job with, say, the trust or something like that. They don't need me. B, what could I bring to the table that they don't already have, or that's better than what they have? And the answer is nothing. And also, I'm not. People like me at arm's length. Let's put it like that. Okay. So it's I have to keep this going, and I have to improve this. So he's a Marine his whole life. He's in Vietnam, and he stays in, and then he's in Beirut and everything, and then he finally retires, and leaves the service, and then he goes, you know what, that Hollywood, they're not getting it right. I'm going out to Hollywood. And he goes. And it's tough getting in, but once he's in like Flynn. And he revolutionizes the way we see war movies. And to me, that is just such a remarkable trajectory throughout life. So I think it's worth, talking about. So obviously we did get to that, but I wanted to spend a lot of time on combat and his experience in combat. And Eric Doerr's gotten to know him for a while. They've had a lot of conversations about stuff, and it's always been apparently about movies and things, and they never really got into his Vietnam experience, especially what gave him his Purple Hearts. And he didn't go into all of them, and I could tell, like, it was, he even said, he's like, I don't want to get gory here, but he told us about the first one, which was horrific. But it was another one of those things where, movies, not that you don't see things like this in movies, but you don't see them very often. And I'd have to imagine that these type of wounds might happen more often than not, or more often than we think. And that is that he, well, you know what? I'm not going to give it away. Sorry. Patrons know it. They've already seen it. But I'm sorry. I didn't mean to tease you there. But that wasn't a purposeful tease. But I guess it's going to have to be. You're going to have to just watch the episode. It's on 7:30 tonight on YouTube, and you'll see what his first wound was. And but I'll give you this: it wasn't being hit directly by a bullet. A sniper had something to do with it, but it wasn't. The sniper's bullet didn't hit him, yet he was still badly wounded. Not mortally, but badly. And he got a Purple Heart for it. So you'll have to, for the details of what the wound was, you're going to have to watch tonight. Also, you might notice, and this might be annoying for you, but I tried to go with that kind of Private Ryan look to the video. It starts off in the beginning with Eric Doerr giving a little talk to you, and it's like, you know what? Let me make this look like old film, and then during the interview, I kind of play with the color a bit. I couldn't get it perfectly because, you got to shoot it a certain way too, and this wasn't shot that way. So I did it the best I could, and it's probably going to annoy people, but who cares? Don't watch, just listen. The information's still good. It's just a thing that keeps me interested in doing this more and more. Grant says the great 6Q is here. Yeah. Babber says, is that Dale Dye interview tonight live or pre-recorded? That is pre-recorded, as you probably guessed from my speech just now. Good morning, Fraser baby. How are you? 6 questions says, I feel mediocre today. Oh, that's sad. We all do, though. It's the rain. Looking forward to the full episode tonight. The part released on Patreon was excellent. Thank you. Oh, yeah, and I actually start the video off with a compliment that he pays me, which I will carry to my grave as the greatest compliment I've ever received. And I've received a lot of them, but this one carried a lot of weight because this guy is kind of one of those no bullshit guys. And so I started it off with that because I know people, when the interview's over, people tend to not watch whatever comes after it. And so I didn't want to put it at the end, which is when it actually happened. So I moved it to the beginning. It's a humble brag. I'm not going to lie. I'm very proud of this interview. So sue me. TC Data Law says, good morning. Both Dale Dye and Phil Spoggy were excellent. Great reasons to be on Patreon. That's true, Tim. Thank you very much. David says, realize my Patreon subscription lapsed. Jesus, David. Jesus. Just fixed it. What's your OnlyFans? My OnlyFans is Hairy Feet Guy. 78. Grant says, you're a good listener as an interviewer, as you let the guests speak and not interrupt. It's funny you say that, because some people go, I wish you would stop interrupting. I'd always be waiting for my time to talk and not pay attention, plus I'd say something inappropriate. I used to be that way, Grant, but then I realized nobody really cares to hear what I have to say. They're there for the guest. And if I'm going to make a business out of it, you got to give the people as much as what they want as you can stomach. Because some things people want I can't stomach, but I give them what I can stomach. And but also you have to be genuinely interested in people. And I am. I like people. Don't forget, there was a time where I wanted to self-delete. And so I'm very happy to be alive and very happy to be meeting people, new people, interesting people, and I'm very flattered and honored that they would take the time to talk to me, because most of the people that we have on the show are, and this isn't my perception, this is reality, they are far more accomplished than I am. So for them to sit down with this college dropout and talk to him with respect and dignity, like that is something that means a lot to me. So prior to the rebirth, if you will, that I've had, I probably would have been more like what you described. In fact, I was just waiting. I would let the person talk, and I couldn't care less. And I would still listen for things to jump on. But for the most part, I was just sitting there waiting to get, my goofy one-liner in or whatever. And I still do that to an extent, but a little dabble do ya now. It used to be a little too much. So, yeah, you have to be genuinely interested in the subject and the person you're talking to. Otherwise, it's going to sound like an NPR interview, or frankly, it's going to sound like the interviews that I watched with Dale Dye. Even the people that were fawning over him seemed to not really know what to ask him, because it was the same questions that everybody else asked him. So, you got to find that connection. You got to be interested in the person, people in general. There are very interesting people walking around us that don't go around waving a flag saying, I'm interesting. In fact, any flag wavers are the least interesting people in the world. That's why they wave the flag. It's because they're like, oh, well, I could do this and people will think I'm interesting. But you can't. You can't do it, and you can do it, but like nobody's going to think you're interesting, because you're not. There's nothing beyond what we see on the surface. Just walk through a protest of any kind. Doesn't matter who's protesting. Walk through, and those people, if you get to talk to them, there's no substance. So it's the same thing. Like the quiet ones, those are the ones that've got the great story, and you just have to get it out of them. And yeah. That's the experience I've had. I don't know if everybody agrees with what I just said there, but in my experience, that is what I have found. Stella says, I get the romanticizing war after watching The Undefeated with John Wayne and Rock Hudson. Oh, yeah. Oh, but I love that movie. See, I love all these movies, but they're such fairy tales, The opening scene where the cavalry charges into the Confederate position, and then word comes through that Lee's ready to grant the war is over, and then John Wayne has this conversation with the major or whatever about how he's unreformed or he's not going to surrender or whatever. Obviously those people existed. It was a real thing, but just, I don't know, there was something so Hollywood about that, but that's what they had to do in order to set the premise of the movie, right? It's a good movie, but yes, it is goofy. Matt Gillespie, thank you, sir, for the super chat. Mucho appreciado, which I think is Italian for thank you very much. Six Question says, good morning, Matthew. Oh, he says, good morning, Matthew Gillespie. Grant says, I agree, I'm here for the guests. That's right. Jim says, I used to walk around my town waving a flag that said, I'm interesting, and found it to be a great icebreaker with the ladies. Oh, okay. I'll maybe, I don't know. I never tried that. I still think they would have ran the way they did, so I don't know if the flag would have worked for me, but maybe it worked for you. There's an exception to every rule, Jim. Exception to every rule. So we're into lovely Hanover now. This is somewhere around here. Somebody once showed me the creek that Stuart hopped over when he was being chased during the Battle of Hanover. It's to my left. I forget which road it was that we went down. And he claimed to say that was the very spot. I don't know if that's true. Oh, it's right up here, actually. Because there's the... No, wait, is this where it was? No, that's not where it was. I don't know where it was. Anyway. Oh, Stewart Avenue. So maybe it's somewhere around here. Oh, it was down that road. To the left. Anyway. So, I mean, I can't say that was the actual spot. The guy wasn't a historian. He was a local, and, you know, it's hard to gauge whether or not he was right, because I've never really asked a historian. Morning, Paul. How are you? Jim says LOL. Stella, she laughed at Jim as well. Jim had the big laugh of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Jim gets the prize. He gets a chance to win $5,000 if he plays the lottery. Congratulations, Jim. Or more. And now we get into the heart of Hanover. Up on the left, I'll point it out when we get up there. Allegedly, I believe there's a sign there, actually. Custer tied his horse to a tree in front of one of the buildings up on the left. What do I have my phone hooked up to for these lives? It's like this thing here. And it's, you know, there's a whole bunch of different types of, obviously, as you know, like phone holders, but the only one that seems to be conducive to shooting video out the windshield is this one, that I could find at least. Oh, I just passed it, sorry. The Custer building, I just passed it. I am so bad. I'm so bad. I'm so sorry. I'll settle for a brand new Cupid doll. What's a Cupid doll? Why won't you? There we go. Attached to the rear view, yep. Bill, good morning to you. He says, question, just finished Jubal Early's memoirs. What is the prevailing take on his memory and veracity? I haven't read it myself, but from what I glean from historians, their opinion of Early is not too high, but people do quote him, but I don't know. You maybe you'd ask 6 questions would know the answer to that. The what I gather from everybody is it's slightly more reputable or reliable than Gordon's. But don't forget, Early was a big lost cause guy, so he had an axe to grind. Oh, there you go. Grant says, lost cause nut, an unrepentant guy, but a good division commander with a temper. Lost cause nut. Let's just park here. Okay. Let's say Bill Sims said, thanks for the feedback. It's a great read and that he seems to have been everywhere. Yeah. Another Forrest Gump type character. There's a lot of them in the Civil War. Although a lot of them were a lot of places, you know. You're constantly out and about. Oh, God. Oh, well, I got 10 minutes, so I better get going. All right, you guys have a great day. Don't forget, go to our YouTube channel now, and you'll see that the Dale Dye interview is scheduled for tonight. There's a button that says notify me. Click that so you don't miss the notification, because sometimes it's not always reliable if you just assume that your subscription will get you that notification. So click notify me, and we will see you tonight in the live chat. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. And if the attempt at making it look somewhat Private Ryan-like annoys you, just turn your head and listen. That's it for me. You guys have a spectacular day.